Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, it has been a little while. I haven't been posting because partially being my fault of thinking that the update was last week, and I kind of went through all the content on my noob to pro just because I was trying to push it out for the update, but I got the times wrong. It is what it is, but I have been grinding on my account still. It's been like just farming for gems and food, so it's not really anything too crazy. I have been working on Ragnar as well, but I still haven't gotten them. Also, the last thing I need to get on my account is Choi In, but I've not gotten around to doing that yet. So I thought I'd make a video on the new trailer that came out a couple days ago, and then also the unit overview that came out 5 hours ago. Before we get into the video, one thing I'd like to mention is that I did not say who these were done by. So this is Anime Vanguards, of course, on the official YouTube channel for them, and the unit showcase was done by Shrine, so please go check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. Since I didn't really showcase and watch the video itself, I kind of just skipped through it, so kind of is underappreciating them. So yeah, links are in the description. Now back onto the video. Yeah, let's get into this. Now I'm not going to really show off the video, I'm just going to point out some things and just kind of talk about things, since I'm sure you've already watched the trailer. Let's first go off into looking at this video. I'm also going to have it muted because I don't want any volume. So it is the World Tournament. It's Buu Saga. We look at the new units. We have Goku in Super Saiyan form. This will come into a reason why I'm saying Super Saiyan form later on. Then we have Vegeta. When first viewing this video, nothing was too crazy about it. Later on I find out like, oh, these units look like they're the same unit. Now the reason why is coming up to here. If you play, there is Goku. He gets upgraded and it turns into Vegeta. This was when I first thought that they were one unit, and I was correct in saying that because they are one unit. Go back to that in a second. I'm just going to go over the video. One little detail to talk about with this unit is that they go through all their forms basically. So we have Goku in Super Saiyan form, we have Vegeta in Super Saiyan form, then we go over here, we have Goku in Super Saiyan 2 form, because you can see there's electricity and he's attacking. And then there is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then Vegeta is in Super Saiyan 2 form, which is really cool. Nice little detail on the unit. Doesn't really add anything to it other than just it being like a little detail. I assume maybe as they upgrade they can change in their form. Very cool to see. Anyway, going back to the video, or back in the video, we have Ultimate Gohan, or just Gohan from the Buu Saga. I don't know if this is exactly Ultimate Gohan, but there is that. And then we have Hercule and Buu. Very cool. And next up we show off all of the Buus. So we have Evil Buu, Super Buu, Buickolo, Buu Tanks, and Buuhan. Now for these 5 units, each of them have the exact same aura, so I'm under the assumption this is all the same unit in different forms. Very cool to see. And then lastly we have Kid Buu. He has a different aura. That is also me thinking that this is a separate unit from the Super Buus and the Evil Buu. And then we have some of the attacks. Now one thing to note is this Evil Buu, compared to the Super Buus, he does not have this damage stack when they attack. So all the Super Buus share this stacking damage. So this helps with my assumption thinking that they are of the same unit, because they will have the same passive. They attack, and each time they hit an enemy, it stacks up damage. It doesn't do that with Evil Buu though, so I'm not too sure. Maybe Evil Buu could be the pre-evolution to the Super Buu, but there is that. The other thing to talk about is there is a chocolate bar on the track. Now this is kind of off the side, so this maybe could be a familiar, or it could be a new CC effect that the Buus do. There's not much to talk about it, but they are attacking it, so could be an enemy basically that's just kind of there frozen. And then we have where the main show is, going into Vegito. Now one thing to show off with Vegito that looks very sick is they have the Dokkan Battle AGL Vegito Blue attack in this unit, which is amazing to see. This is where the "We Saiyans have no limits" meme comes from, that specific unit on Dokkan Battle, so it is cool to see. We have Buu and Hercule's final attack, because this is his fully upgraded form. Very nice to see. And then we have a new map. This map does have a pillar base that is similar to the dungeon with the ant raid map. Now this is either one or two things. It's like a new game mode. This could be the Odyssey map, this could be a dungeon map, which I don't think it would be a dungeon map, or this is just what maps bases are gonna look like going forward. Is just gonna have this pillar design for each of the maps. It looks like it might be similar pillar on this map. As you can see, there's like a beam going to the sky. I assume that's going to be the base, and it's also going to be this pillar. Yeah, not much else to say about that. And it goes into showing off the Devil May Cry characters. Now, I haven't played any Devil May Cry, and I have not watched the anime, so I don't know too much about these characters. I do know their names are Virgil and Dante, so it would be great to see them. I don't know who this character is. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I have not played the games, and I have not watched the anime, so I don't know too much about them, but they look very nice, and I'm excited to get my hands on them. So there is that. And lastly, we have the pea shooter, which unfortunately is not going to come into the game. Would have been cool to see, but yeah, it does make sense. I did not think that this was real, and it's not going to be real. Alright, so the next video that we'll be looking at is the Vegito unit overview. Now, this is a very cool unit from what I've seen, so let's go ahead and just quickly check him out. So this unit has a main mechanic when you're not as Vegito, and that is a swap meter. This is built whenever you attack an enemy up to 4 times, unless this is just a visual showcase, but it looks like every 4 attacks you're able to swap between the units. Every single time you do swap between Goku or Vegeta, you do gain a temporary buff. Now, each of the units have separate buffs and also apply an effect to enemies on the track whenever they do swap. For Vegeta himself, he gains an SPA buff and he slows enemies on the track for 40% for 10 seconds. Goku, he stuns enemies on the track whenever he swaps over, and he gains a 50% damage buff. One thing that I don't know that can happen, I hope it can happen, is that this temporary buff, I wonder if this can be swapped onto Vegeta or Goku. So let's say you have your Vegeta out, the the temporary SPA buff, and it's been 4 attacks since he swapped out, and he still has this temporary buff. I wonder if you were to swap to Goku, that he would gain that SPA buff. That'd be really cool if you can do that, and it'd be pretty powerful. Now, alongside these swapping buffs, both of them have their own unique passives. Now, it looks like it's just one. There could be multiple passives that we aren't seeing yet, but for now we have these 2 passives that we can read. So, Goku gains damage and range per second up to 100% if there are no enemies within his range. This stacking buff resets every single time he does attack though, so there is that. Now, I think it's not just within enemies within range, it's just, oh no, it is. So, there needs to be no enemies within the range for him to build up. If there are always enemies in the range, he's never going to stack up anything. When you max out Goku, he gains an ability. This is the Spirit Bomb. This is a nuke that needs to be charged for 3 minutes. When he is charging up, Vegito will be in his place attacking for him, so it's not like a completely dead unit during that time. This nuke is 1000% increased damage and is a completely map-wide nuke, which is very cool and is the first in the game. For Vegeta himself, his unique passive is that he gains a stacking buff every single time he attacks up to 40%, and this buff is kept between going over to Goku and also fusing into Vegito. When you max out Vegeta, he gains his ability, and now this has been able to fuse into Vegito himself. This can only be done once you swap after 15 times though. Going into Vegito though, Vegito on fusion gains a 100% damage buff. This is a temporary buff, and after 40 seconds it will expire, but he'll gain 20% in damage, SPA and range. So there is a nice little extra buff outside of just losing that damage buff when he first fuses. The attacks have nice effects on them. He removes regen with the rupture. He can ignore all enemy dodge chance, and he can ignore 50% damage reduction. This can go up to 100% if you use a Gon Familiar, so that is very, very nice. The other thing this Vegito can do is he can intercept any enemy attacks onto allies and put it onto himself instead. When Vegito does get attacked, he instead counters the enemy with an attack and increases his range by 3% every single time he does get attacked, up to 30%. Now this has huge potential in the game. It essentially can make any unit that isn't CC immune. And the other thing is you can build where you have a bunch of allies on the ground, all get attacked, get all intercepted into Vegito himself, and then he hits for a huge amount of damage because of the amount of times that he counters basically. I'm not too sure if his counter per se does damage. I am under the assumption that it is going to be his displayed damage that he will be countering, so we can only hope that that's how it works, because this will mean that he'll have a crazy pseudo nuke in the game. He has huge potential. He does make so many units that have a weakness of being CC'd like perfect. Oh, actually, I'm just thinking of things that can be cooked. How does this work? I don't think this would work with Kenpachi, but like things like Gogeta, this is what I thought of instantly when I saw this passive. This perfectly pairs with Gogeta. Gogeta's weakness is that he can be CC'd. This just eliminates that completely. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The 2 videos. There's nothing much else to say other than I'm very excited for this update. Excited to see what Odyssey is like, and also excited to see the quality of life that we didn't ask for come into the game. So yeah, appreciate it if you have watched this far through the video. So yeah.